family and friends. We are Bill and DeAnna Edmister of Living the Silver Life. And we have been in our new cabin for about 7 weeks. And we are absolutely loving it.
Yeah, in this video we're going to go over 10 items that we think we would have done different now looking back. And some changes, some were just something we missed, and some I think would be a little better design.
So let's get started. Well, one of the very first one that we want to talk about is actually a little bit comical because Bill and I discussed where we wanted to place plugs. So I was determined I did not want one plug behind the bed so that when we had guests, they had to fight to plug in their chargers and stuff, because I have done that before, trying to wiggle in between the mattresses and stick something in. So I wanted to have plugs on both sides of the bed for the nightstands. And we managed to get it on that side, and we marked it on this side. But both Bill and our electrician missed the one on this side. And so, as you can see, there's no plug on this side. While we're in here, let's go ahead and talk about the second thing we probably would change. This window right here. We feel like it's just a little too small for the size of the wall. Yes, we're going to put a headboard in here, but we still feel like if we had gone one size bigger, it would have looked proportional with the headboard we're going to put in. So that's the first two things. Okay, step into my shower, okay? Just kidding. I did want to point out that we do have the same size windows in the shower, but the size is fine in here. It doesn't have a proportion problem. Light comes in just fine, ventilation comes in just fine, so we would not change the ones in the bathroom, in here or the other bathroom.
Okay, the third area that we thought about doing differently actually goes back to an original design that I had drawn, and it involves this area with the washer, dryer, pantry, and all the mechanical stuff. So one of the things in the mechanical area I would like to do is actually move this wall a little bit farther this way to give more room in the mechanical. It is really crowded getting everything in there. That would entail either taking some out of the kitchen island or moving the front door and moving everything about 6 inches and give a little more room there. Along with that, my original design actually had a wall right here with this being an open doorway that we could put a door in if we wanted to, or some bifold doors, whatever. And then we would have had the refrigerator and a cabinet on one side, it's the kitchen, and then a cabinet and the washer, dryer, mechanical all here inside. Now that probably would take, we'd have to move the peninsula about 6 inches that way and put the wall in. And that was part of my original design, but when working with the lady who drew these plans up, the openness of leaving all that out and having open clear to the ceiling looked really nice, and it still works well. It just, we sometimes wish we could close off the mechanical area. The fourth thing that I would change in future designs or builds is the peak here at the patio in the back and the porch in the front. I would change the roof pitch on these roofs to match the roof pitch of the house. The house is a 512 pitch, this is a 412. What happens is it makes it harder to frame, and things don't match up as well sometimes right in this area. They actually come out better if they're the same pitches. And I think a little steeper pitch up here would have looked a little better.
All right. I think that y'all thought that we were probably being really creative putting this faucet on the corner of this sink here. But really, there's another reason why we put this faucet right here. And that is because of this light switch and outlet right here. We put it along the stud, and what we really should have done is to put another stud right here, build it in, and then move this here because as it is, if we took this and centered it on here, it's right in front of the light switch. So the only way to fix it, once it was installed, was to move the faucet to the corner. And it works just fine.
Okay, the sixth thing is more of a quality issue, and it has to do with the textured and stained concrete floors in the house. We actually did the house first, and we learned some things on it. When we were I was talking to the builder, we were trying to get prices on it, and they were kind of high. So I said, hey, I'm game. I looked up how to do it. He's poured a lot of slabs and stuff. He never personally did the texturing and coloring on it, but he had seen it done. So we did it. I said, I'll take the chance. And it came out fairly well, except there's spots that could be much better, and there's some things that I know why they are, and it's not what I would do in the future. And it has to do with how we finished it before we laid the texture mats down, and the amount of release I was putting on. We actually learned on this floor, and the patio probably came out 99% out of 100 better compared to like 80% in here. I mean, it's all acceptable. It's nothing that really detracts from the house. It's just that we learned a lot on the house, and once you see how good it can come out, like in the patio, you go, dang, I wish we had done the patio first and then the house. But it's all good. But I learned two things. One, either I never want to do it again, or two, if I do it, I know what the finish needs to be and how long you need to wait to put the texture max on, because that is the hardest part of the whole deal. Is at what stage of the concrete setting up do you start texturing? But I mean, it's very acceptable. Most people don't even notice it. It's just that I'm a little pickier.
Okay, the next one concerns my beloved slamming screen doors. The one in the front is a 36-inch and has a small filler on it. Looks great proportionally. In the back, we went with 32-inch doors because it matches our 32-inch patio doors on both sides. But it creates a much larger filler. Doesn't bother me, but it kind of bothers Bill. So, I mean, it could be something that we could change just whenever we wanted. Other than some of the things which are not changeable, this is one thing that we could change to make him feel a little bit better.
So the next one involves the instant hot water heaters. We have two of them. The main one is right here in the mechanical room. These are electric. This takes a lot of juice. I mean, this is 3 40-amp breakers to provide the electric for this does the bathtub, the kitchen sink, the washer dryer, and the sink in the owner suite. I thought about maybe in the future I would research a little more and make this one LP gas, because our hot water heater that provides the heat for the radiant floor is gas, so we have gas right here. That might be a little more efficient, and also it gives us the possibility of that we could have some hot water if we were out of power, and that those controls would be, we could put them on a battery backup almost. Same thing with this, and have the LP gas with a battery backup to monitor the controls and the pumps. Probably wouldn't do the one in the guest bathroom because it's underneath the sink, and to get a gas line there and all that is a little more complex. But we have gas right here. Might have made sense and be more efficient to convert this one to gas also.
All right, so this next one is definitely all on us because we were so anxious to get into the house that we were trying to decide what we needed to do with the walls and the ceilings, and we weren't sure. We didn't know if we just love having all of this same color wood over everything, including the ceiling, or if we might want to do accent walls or trims differently. So basically, we didn't put a clear coating or a clear stain on the wood and the ceilings, which would have been so much easier to do as they were going in. But let's be honest, this wood was still wet basically, and it still needed time to dry. So in all honesty, we probably are better off waiting. It's just going to be trickier to put a clear stain on these ceilings.
Okay, the last one we want to talk about is one that probably drives me the craziest the most. And it's one of those things I always keep saying, man, I wish I had done it a little different. And that has to do with the location of the leach field and the septic tank. The septic tank's right behind the hummingbird feeder down there off the corner of the house. In hindsight, I wish I had pushed that septic field about another 20 or 30 feet down the hill a little bit. It still slopes a little bit. It starts to get flat, and take out the trees that were in the way. One of the problems when we got here, this was so covered in slash and everything, you couldn't even see the topography. And we did a little clearing, and then we started putting it in, and it got to the point of it, well, that's too late. And by pushing that down the hill, if I could have lowered it a couple feet, I could have also lowered the septic tank another foot or so. Right now, everything flows and the septic system all works perfectly in the house, but because of the height elevation of the septic determined the elevation of the house. And I could have brought the house down probably a foot or so and saved some money. It's not a huge amount, but I could have saved some money in fill and stuff. And the front would have been lower, and for future, if we ever need to break a ramp off the front for one of us, say needed a ramp to get in the house, it would have been easier. It's still possible, it's just going to be bigger and longer, but I think that's the one that probably bothers me the most, is the location of the septic and the leach field.
Even with these 10 things, we absolutely love our home, our little cabin in the woods. But let's say we decide that we want this seasonal home here, and then we would like to do another seasonal home in another state. What would we do differently with this same design there?
Yeah, we would stay with this, I think, the same basic design. It's a box. The first thing, if finances and site and wherever it was, I would probably increase the size, let's say, and make it 28 by 44. This house is 24 by 40. That adds about another 270 some square feet, I believe. This house is 960, and that becomes, I think, 1272 or something. We'll put it up here. We'll put the actual amount. And also, we would probably increase the size of the porches and definitely the size of the back patio. That would allow us to have a little bigger bedrooms, and possibly even on the one end, put 2 bedrooms in and a bath and make it a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. They'd be smaller bedrooms, but you could do that, I think. Also, it would allow us, like I talked before, I could add a lot more room to the mechanical area. We could make the peninsula maybe a hair bigger. The dining area could get a little bigger, and the living area would, where the TV and the couches would definitely could get bigger. And I think it would make them more functional if you wanted to have more people, let's say. The other thing is, I would probably, depending on finances, because this is when it starts getting expensive when you change things. The roof is done all with trusses, and has very simple, economical way to do the roof. We thought about, originally I had in my design to make a cathedral ceiling that basically mimics the patio cathedral ceiling in there. When you get into that, you start adding a lot of framing, and especially if you want to have exposed timbers and stuff. Depending on how much it would cost, say building prices go down or something, or we win the lottery, I'd look at converting the living area from the center of the house to the patio into a cathedral ceiling with some exposed beams probably and stuff. But other than that, I don't know if we change a lot. It just works, and it's so simple of a design, and it is so simple and economical for us it's hard to want to make too many changes.
It really is. We still pinching ourselves about how much we absolutely love it, and that we have actually been in here 7 weeks. It's
Yes.
just amazing, and it only took 9 weeks to build. So we're thrilled. We love the property. We love the house, and we just thank you so much for being with us today. And one little point though, to win the lottery, you have to play the lottery, but that's just another thing in general. So get up and get out and join us next week.